Greetings, Alafiani. This is the Ialosha Apetibi Ola Omi Akalatunde of Got to Be Oshun TV and Got to Be Oshun Radio. I am coming to you today with a few videos, but only one of them that'll be public. So this is the only video of the day that I'm going to do that's public. It's been requested that I do a video of some Orisha songs, and it's been suggested that I do a video of some Orisha Orikis. And the songs that we sing to the Orisha are called Orin. The Orikis are the praise chants that we do for the Orisha. So those will be available on my website, www.osheturainstitute.com, OSHETURA institute.com, if you would like to purchase them and utilize them to uplift yourself, to motivate yourself, to make your life better. But this is a video, this is the public video that I want to make today. And this is on a topic that we hear a lot about, but I don't feel, or I haven't seen where people are actually willing to do the work on this particular topic. People are not actually willing to do what it takes to make this better. And the topic that I'm speaking of is the destruction of the Black family. When I say Black family, I mean African family worldwide. I mean the family of majority peoples worldwide, the Black, brown, and red people of the earth who are the majority, the earth's global majority. So that's what I'm speaking of. But in particular, I'm speaking of Afro-Caribbean and African-American families and the destruction of these families and why we don't see these families being able to stay together and maintain a cohesiveness forward to a larger degree as they did in the past. And two things that I've seen this blamed on are homosexuality and feminism. So I've seen it where it says feminism was created to destroy the Black family, and I've also seen things that say homosexuality has been was created and is being utilized to destroy the Black family. And when I hear those types of claims, what I think about is trying to create some sort of phantom issue. You want to create some sort of make-believe issue so that you don't have to deal with the real issue. What is destroying the Black families is the same thing that is destroying families and people worldwide, and that is the patriarchy. The patriarchy is directly responsible. Patriarchy and patriarchal values and mores are what is directly responsible for the destruction of the Black family. If you continue to create situations where men feel that they have a right to dominate and control women and to dominate and control children, then those people who have mental issues that make them then want to abuse children sexually, emotionally, physically, or otherwise, or make them then want to abuse women sexually, physically, emotionally, or otherwise, will continue to do that. It is the patriarchy that is destroying the Black family, and we can see that. We don't have to look at any sort of phantom outside source and say, well, these people got together in this secret meeting and they created feminism, and then feminism was planted in these certain places to destroy the Black family. We don't have to look for anything like that. Right there within the family is the source of the family's destruction. If you are abusing a woman or if you are abusing children, you are destroying the Black family, whether or not that woman chooses to stay with you and whether or not that woman chooses to keep those children around you. You have successfully destroyed the Black family if you are abusing your other family members. And this goes for one of any gender. If you continue to abuse your family members under the auspices of some sort of Okay. Sorry about that. Got a little loud in my living room. You know, I'm always working while mothering. But if you continue to abuse your family under the auspices of some sort of erroneous belief that you have the right to do so because you were born with a penis, then you are destroying your family. You cannot blame it on any sort of outside source. I've heard all type of suppositions that to me are not concrete. We don't have any proof that these things are true. I've heard that because black people eat so much chicken, then this is why they started putting so many hormones in the chicken. And the hormones are making people become gay. And then these gay people are destroying the black family. Now, if there are people right there in your family abusing other family members, why do we have to look at some sort of chicken hormone theory? We don't have to look at a theory. We know what's wrong with it and we know why it's happening. So why not put our efforts and our energy towards fixing that? Why not put our efforts and our energy towards alleviating the need for people to abuse each other? Why not put our energy and our efforts and our money and our minds towards stopping this system of domination and submission? And this system of patriarchy that is not African, that is not ancient, that is not the way of our ancestors. Why not put our efforts and our energy towards discontinuing trying to live in this unnatural way, as opposed to dealing with some theory that may or may not be true? Why would we do that when we can see what the problem is? And what the reason that I think people are doing it is because they really don't want to put an end to what the real problem is. They are reaping some sort of reward, directly or indirectly, from the patriarchal system. And so they don't want to say this system is what is destroying our families, because it is the patriarchy that is destroying the black family. My great grandmother, my great great grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, myself, all of my sisters, my nieces have all been in marriages and have been divorced because the man was abusing them. And in some cases, the man was abusing their children as well. So I'm not talking about something that I don't know. I'm not talking about a theory. I'm talking about real life. When you see a man and a woman get together and they don't stay together, what are the reasons for that? Because somebody is eating too much chicken with hormones in it? That's not usually the reason, is it? The reason is usually that somebody is mistreating the other person. Someone is being abusive to the other person. Abuse can come in many forms. Abuse can be you beating somebody up. Abuse can be you emotionally abusing somebody and constantly having to put them down and make them feel like they are less than. Abuse can be you financially abusing somebody and making sure that they're totally and completely dependent on you and not allowing them to even use their own resources the way that they want to. Abuse can be sexual abuse. Abuse can be spiritual abuse. So this is the reason that relationships end, because one person is abusing the other. So what we need to be asking ourselves is, as African people all over the world, as the world's majority peoples, why have we become so susceptible to the abuse of one another? Because it's this abuse that's destroying our families. Divorce has always happened. First of all, that's another point we need to deal with. Divorce is an ancient thing. There is no time in which men and women have stayed together forever. And during those times when divorce became less likely to occur, is because women began to be socialized to believe that it was okay for someone to abuse them. So that's not a situation that we want to perpetuate either. We don't want to look back and say, well, my grandmother stayed with my granddaddy for 85 years. And yeah, he cheated on her 35 times and he used to beat her up and he had 20 outside kids, but she still stayed with him. Is that what we're trying to perpetuate? Because that wasn't the black family either. That black family was destroyed too. That was not an intact black family. Children growing up in that situation do not grow up to be whole, healthy, happy people. And that's what needs to be our concern. That needs to be what we're trying to create. Whole, healthy, happy children. So what we need to be trying to figure out is, why have we become so susceptible to whatever it is that is causing us to abuse each other? Why are we abusing each other so frequently? And why are our children of such little concern to us when we deal with one another as adults? When the husband and the wife, or when the man and the woman are dealing with one another, why are they not thinking about how their interactions with each other are going to impact their children? Why are they not thinking about that? Let's deal with what's actually going on. Let's come outside of this empty rhetoric and this dealing with phantom theories that we may or may not be able to prove, and trying to see who can sound more intellectual than thou, and who can dress more African than thou, and whose hair and jewelry and name can be more African than the next person. Let's come outside of that. And if we say that we want to protect and defend and strengthen the Black family, then let's look at the real issues. Let's look at the issue of, once a woman has decided that a situation is too abusive for her and her children to stay in it, then why does no one make sure that this woman gets the resources that she needs to raise these children properly? I worked for a year in a juvenile detention center where they housed young men who had committed crimes. And I was directly responsible for 13 young men for that year. It's a little over a year. That was all I could take. I walked off of the job with nothing. I didn't want anything that they had, because the job wrenched my heart so deeply. But I worked there for a year. Every young man in there, and yes, most of them were Black. I had 2 Mexican young men and I had 1 white young man, and the rest of those little boys were Black, African. Every young man in there was in there because he was protecting his mother from his abusive father or stepfather. If he wasn't there because he was protecting his mother, he was protecting his younger siblings from his abusive father or stepfather. Every young man in there. And we want to sit up and talk about theories of hormones in chicken and feminism that's destroying the Black family. No, these abusers are what are destroying the Black family. You want to know why all these little boys are running around and joining gangs? Because there is no one in the home that they can depend on, and they have to get out in the streets. These little boys told me their stories and become men at 10 and 11. Because no one in their home is dependable. And the only man that's in their home is busy abusing their mother, and usually abusing them too. So if you want to know what is destroying the Black family, ask the children. And focus your energy on that. If you are an African scholar, if you are a teacher, if you are just a concerned person of African descent, focus your energy on making sure that the mother who does not want to stay with an abusive man, who's making a courageous move to leave a man that's abusing her and her children, let's focus our energy on making sure she has the resources that she needs, so that she's not starving, so that she's not being evicted, so that she can have furniture and clothes. Let's make sure she has the resources that she needs, as opposed to focusing our energy on chicken hormones. Let's make sure that if we know that somebody is an abuser of any kind, cheating on your woman is abuse too. So if we know someone is an abuser of any kind, let's ostracize this person from the community. Let's let them know this behavior is not acceptable to us, and it has never been acceptable from an African perspective. Instead of pointing the finger at feminists who don't live in your house. They don't live in your house. There isn't any such thing as a Black feminist. They don't live in your house. So they're not destroying your family. Let's make sure that can be taken care of. Let's make sure that when people enter into relationships, that they have a clear view of how to treat one another. Let's stop teaching young men to play games with women. And let's stop teaching women to pander to the games of men. Let's be actually responsible, as opposed to pointing the finger at the sky. You're just going to point a finger at the sky. You just gonna point a finger at empty airspace and say that's the reason that the black family is being destroyed when we all know what the real reasons are. If you black and you grew up in a family, you know what the reasons are that the black family is being destroyed. You know who, what, when, and where, and how the black family is being destroyed. I despise more than anything else people who act in a cowardly manner. Because life is no place for cowards. If you're a coward, you should have stayed in the spiritual realm. The physical realm ain't no place for cowards. If you here and you living, then you got to step up to the plate. You got to man up and you got to woman up and do what you got to do. Walking around pointing the finger at imaginary specters, talking about that's what's destroying the black family. No, indeed. The members of the black family itself are right there within the black family destroying it. And no one is holding them accountable. So the lack of accountability within the black community and the abusive behavior of black people towards each other is what's destroying the black family. Let's make ourselves intolerable. Let's make these particular things intolerable. Let's stop tolerating them. Let's stop funding them. Let's stop saying this is the right way and this is the divine way to abuse a woman and to treat a woman as an object and to treat children as objects is the ancient way. Let's stop saying that as a beginning. Let's begin by remembering that any form of life has the right to exist unbothered and unmolested, and the right to completely and totally develop to its full potential. Let's begin by living our lives like that. Let's begin by remembering that each thing is born and created with Ori. And let's guide everything toward what their Ori, their highest self, their head is leading them to do. That's my rant. Thank you for listening. As I said, I'm going to move on today into doing some different little few works that I have to do, but I had to get that off my chest because I am tired of listening to these people who just want to hear themselves talk. They don't want to do any work. They just want to run their mouths and they don't want to actually make a change because the way that things are, it's working for them. So I'm tired of that. So I had to put that out there. Peace, love, light, ecstasy, abundance, and bliss, prosperity to all of those who are wishing the same to me, and the lessons of life to those who are wishing me otherwise.